Hello and welcome to my latest video tutorial. It's a video to accompany my banjo sock pattern. Here it is here. It's a toe-up sock. So we start here and then work up these stripes, and then there's an increase, a gusset it's called. If you haven't worked socks before, you can see the increase here. And then we're into the heel where we start working in rows. And here's the heel section here. The heel turn is around here, and then onto the heel flap, which is this piece here, before working back in the round for this fold down cozy cuff, which will really hug your ankle. So let's get started. I've written the pattern to start either with the chain 4 method, or, like I prefer to do, the magic loop. So once round, do a 1 chain and then work 6 double crochet into that. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I got a train going past. I live right by the railway line. There is no way I could try and film and cut these out, so I'm just going to have to film through them. There's the first one. I wonder how many will hear through this video. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you can just pull that tight. Don't pull it all the way tight. You can do that later on. It helps to keep it slightly slack as you work into the next one. So here's your 1 chain. This pattern is worked with chain 1 and then 1 chain at the beginning anyway. And then we're going to work 2 double crochet into all of those. 1, 2, 3. This stage I don't tend to use a marker. You can. I just tend to count as I go, and that keeps me right. But by all means you could put a stitch marker in that first stitch and that'll keep you right. Especially if you're newer, it can be tricky to recognise where your stitches and your rounds start and stop. So if a stitch marker is going to help you, then you go ahead. Because actually I think I've just worked into my slip by mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yes. So we've got our 12, and then we're just going to slip stitch into the first one and chain 1, and we're ready to start. And at this point, take our hook out, we can tighten up that circle by just pulling the tail end. We can really tighten that up. Okay, so that's the start of our toe. You're ready to move on. Okay, I'm going to work through a couple of extended double crochets for you. So you've done the toe section, and just before the first colour change there's a couple of rows of extended double crochet. So finish the last round. Extended double crochet is usually chain 2 to bring you up to height, like a half treble. And then into the indicated stitch, yarn over, so you've made a chain, and then yarn over again, and that's it. An extended double crochet into the stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over to make a chain, and then pull off both. Okay, so you've now worked your first 2 rounds in extended double crochet, and you're ready to start with your first colour change. So the best way to do it, so it ends up in a nice circle, if you can imagine these two joined like this. We find the top of our 2 chain here, hook through, pick up our new colour, try not to get in a tangle, here we are, new colour, and just grab it at the back, yarn over and pull it through. And there we go. We can tighten that up later, don't worry. Okay, and then simply chain 2, and here we are. 1 extended double crochet in the first stitch, and we're going to start on these puffs. So yarn over once, and there you can see that's under the first stitch. Here's under the second one. 2 rounds down, and there pull up a nice long loop, so you're to height. Yarn over once, and we're just going to repeat that. Yarn over into that same spot, long loop, yarn over, same spot, nice long loop. They do get slightly shorter, don't worry about that. It does happen. You'll find that the fourth one will not be quite as long as the first one, and that's okay. So now we have 5 loops on the hoop, yarn over again, and pull through them all. And then there's this little chain, and that just finishes it, keeps it nice and close. We're going to miss one extended double crochet, and that's the one that's hidden in there, into that one. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to show you another puff. So yarn over once. You can see we've missed 1, 2, 3 from that round, and here it's directly under, into there. Pull up a long loop. Keep your ball nice and loose for this. Long loop over there. A long loop. 2 off. A long loop. 2 off. A long loop. 2 off. Yarn over. All off. And then chain to finish it. Okay, and that's all there is to that. And just make sure that you miss, it's kind of hard not to miss that one in there, it'd be tricky to get into it. And it's just that one there. You can check when you get to the end of the round, check your stitch count if you're not sure if you've been missing the right number. But there we are, that's all there is to the puff stitches. Not as scary as you might think. So we're now on to the second round in colour B. And I just wanted to show you how you deal with the puff stitches in this round. So we're going along, extended double crochet in each extended double crochet, and then you're going to work an extended double crochet in this loop here, and you need to remember that this next one here is the one that closes the puff, and it does not count as a stitch. So we skip that and work into the next extended double crochet. So you always have 3 extended double crochets between each of the puff stitches. Here's our next one. So here's the top of the stitch. Here we work into that and we ignore the chain and into the next extended double crochet. Oh, I kind of went off camera there. Alright, so we're missing these little chains. You can see them here. But we'd end up with a big wide sock if we worked into them. They just, like I say, they just close off the stitch. Okay, and we've come right round. We've worked 3 rounds in colour B. And we're ready to start changing back to colour A. I just wanted to show you the colour change again. So here's our slip stitch. Chain 1, chain 2. So into the chain 2. And if we look inside our work, we can pull up, so there's no need to cut yarn, you're not going to have millions of ends in this project. You can simply pull up this one, give it a little tug, pull it up and yarn over and pull through. See on the inside, just keep it the same sort of tension as that row there. You don't want it too tight because that would pull it in, and you don't want it too slack, otherwise you'll end up with a bit of a gappy hole. So just keep it just snug. And then chain 2 and find your first stitch. And on this round it's 1, 2, 3, and then your puff. Yarn over, and we're aiming for the one in the middle between the two rounds down. Sweet spot there. Yarn over once, over again, take off 2, over again, take off 2, over again, take off 2, over them all, and then a chain to finish. and miss one, and off we go. 1, 2, 3, and I'll just show you this one last one. So we're aiming for this stitch here, straight under. Do you see that? Nice long loop. Once, twice, 3 times. It's nice to keep a good loose bit of yarn at your side there. Pull through them all, and then a wee chain to finish. And into that next stitch. And there are just 3 puffs on the colour A rounds, 4 on the colour Bs, 3 in the colour As, and you're just going to repeat that until you get to the gusset section. Okay, so we've now reached the end of the foot section. So that's the tubular piece that goes over your main foot. You can see it on this one. And we're going to start the gusset. Now, actually it's easier to show you on the other side. This is where we've got a series of increases, and this just makes the sock wider across the heel and instep, makes it easier to pull on and off, gives it a bit of stretch. So it's not just a tube. So to do this, all we're going to do is work 2 stitches into the one spot and do an increase. So I've worked across the instep in the same way, the 3 puffs, and then 1, 2, 3 extended double crochets, and then I've popped in my marker. This is one point where a marker will be handy because I've referred to it in the pattern. So little marker, mine's got a wee polar bear on it, and then work 2 extended double crochets into that next spot. And this way we're increasing. There's going to be another increase at the end. 2 stitches per round, and just beginning to widen that gusset. So 2 there, and then quick as we can to the end of the round. Extended double crochets. Hopefully you've got the hang of these by now. It's a nice stitch. And we're almost at the halfway point. Brilliant. Nearly at the end of the row round. Yeah, until you reach the last stitch. So it's not this slip stitch, it's this one here. And again, we're going to work 2 extended double crochets in that spot. 2 there before completing the round. Top of the 2 chain, slip stitch, chain 2, and off we go. So we're going to work across here in the same way as before. When we reach the marker, this is the marked one here, we're going to work 1 extended double crochet in there, and then in the first of the increase we're going to work 2 in this one, and that's the way we're going to work for the next 6 rounds in the large size anyway. Next 6 rounds, increasing 2 every time. So I've done a few rounds of gusset. You can see the increases here, 2 each time, and I just wanted to quickly show you how I would go about moving the stitch marker up. So you're going along, 1 into each, 1 into each, 1 into each. You reach your marker, work into that one, hook out, take your marker out, pop it in your new stitch that you've just done. That's how we move it up as we go. And then the increase comes immediately after the marked stitch. Oh, there goes another train. 1 in there, and 1 in there. Another increase. So keep going like that, increasing here, and at the end, on your very last stitch, put in 2, so you're increasing 2 stitches every round. And you'll notice also at the bottom becomes further and further between each of the increases. We've already moved away from the tube and we're moving out. Just about ready to start the heel. So, we've worked the toe, we've worked the leg, we've done the gusset increases at both sides, and we're ready to start on the heel. We can we can snip yarn B there, or whichever yarn you finished on, and slip stitch in the same way that we have been doing. Start the new colour. And now for the first time we're going to be working in rows of double crochet, going back and forth. So chain 1 as we turn, and you can see the carried up stitches here going up the inside, and here we are. This here is our slip. We don't go into that, into the first extended double crochet. And on the large size we're just going to go along 16. I'm just going to work this section with you at the same time because it's pretty short. That bit there, double crochet 2 together, 1 in the next, and then leave these stitches unworked. Chain and turn. Oh, we got tangled there. And back along. So that this time that is your first stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for our large size. Double crochet 2 together, 1 into the next. That should be 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Chain and turn. And we're going to work back and forward along the heel, working along until we reach the last 3 stitches. Doesn't matter what size you're on. The last 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet 2 together. Double crochet in the last one. Turn. Last 3, double crochet 2 together, 1 in the last, chain 1, round we go. The sun's come out and I don't know if you can hear, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but the birds are all singing in the garden, the microphone picking it up, not the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is what I need for my size. So onto the heel turn. We're just turning, working back along that last row. In this case that's 6 stitches. And then I'm going to rotate the work and work 3 into the ends of the rows. Now for me that's going to be this little bump here, this one, this little bump. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do a double crochet 2 together into the next end and the first work stitch of the heel. There we go. Chain 1 as we turn, back the way we came, going to miss the first one here. We're going to work it to the next one. 1, 2, I think I've messed that up actually. Missed the first 2. Yeah. 1 into here. 1 into here. 1 into here. Last one. Double crochet them together. I think I'm totally messing everything up now. I think it's getting near lunchtime here. So I'm beginning to think about what I'm going to have for lunch. There. And that is the heel turn done. And you're onto the heel flap. I'll show you the first one of that. So you're just going back the way you came. Still working in rows. Round the heel. All these stitches we just did until we reach one from the end. And then we're going to double crochet 2 together in that stitch and in this first unworked stitch of the heel. And then turn, chain 1, and you're just going to work back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, each time working the last one and the next one of your heel turn if you're on your heel if you're on this one, or your gusset if you're on this one. Incorporating them, adding them in, and you'll notice that your stitch count remains the same, because although you're doing a double crochet 2 together, you're also picking up 1, so your stitch count remains the same, and you'll see it start to curve around like that. If you've still got your marker, that's handy, because the last space you're going to work in is the one before your marker. And on this side, it's very obvious because it'll be different colour. That is your chain. That is your first double crochet there. Okay. So, brilliant. You have reached the end of the heel. You've done the heel turn, and the heel flap. You can see how it works across, picking up the stitches. That's our heel flap. Now we're going to work the cosy cuff, and we're back to working in the round. And one thing I would suggest is that you work this section inside out, so pull a long bit of that. You could even put a marker in if you're worried that you're gonna lose it, and turn it inside out, just so that you're working round the outside rather than the inside. I mean, it's up to you. It'll work perfectly well on the inside. So we're going to begin with the chain 2, and we're just going to go around working trebles. Chain 2, trebles. Remember, this is a slip stitch, we don't work into that, into this first space here. 1 treble in each of the double crochets going along. Our heel flap. I'm going to work along and show you where I mean when I say work 2 together with 1 in the corner gap and the second leg in the first extended double crochet. It just fills out those corner bits. You can end up with a wee gapey hole, so it fills that up. So corner gap, I would go for either of those 2, it doesn't really matter. Today I'm going to go for the blue one. I'll go just in that bit. So yarn over, go through 2, yarn over. This is our first extended double crochet. If you've still got your marker, it's the one with the marker in. Okay. There. And then join them together. So it's like an upside down V if you haven't worked treble 2 together before. And then you're going to go across what's called the instep. This is the bit on the top of the foot here. One treble in each of those. Until we get to the next corner. And again, we're just going to close up the little gap by working 2 trebles together. Keep it nice and neat and tidy. And we don't want all the drafts coming in and making our feet cold, do we? This is the last stitch. You can always count them if you're not sure. And the corner gap would be this area here, so there's potentially 1, 2, 3 stitches you could go into. I'm going to go into this slip stitch, work half the stitch, yarn over, and I'm going to go into the end row here, just grabbing that bit, yarn over, join the 2 together. Oh, no, not yarn over again, that is us back at the start. So we can slip stitch into the top of our chain 2, chain 2, ready to start again on the new round. So we're going to work the front post and back post stitches. So the front post we go yarn over, sorry, I'll work it slower, yarn over, and instead of working into here, working round the post, yarn over and finish the stitch. It's just like a normal treble, but instead of working into the top, we go around like that. I'll work the next one and then I will pull it a little bit and let you see there. So it's a raised effect. They all look like they're going up. Well, it's supposed to be like a knitted effect. And if you can think of a 3x3 rib in knitting. And to do the back ones, yarn over, and instead of going over the front, come round the back, catch your yarn over and finish the stitch. Yarn over, round the post of the stitch and finish the stitch. Very simple. You'll love this technique once you get to know it. And then we're going to do 3 front posts. So we've done our front posts, our back posts. You can just see it's the next available stitch. 1, 2, 3 fronts, and then 3 backs. And I'm not going to carry on round because the next step is very simple. You're just going to chain 2 at the start of each round and then simply work a front post round each front post and a back post around each back post, and just carry on like that to create your cozy cuff. And then when you reach the end, it will, of course, if I flip this back round again, you'll be flipping it down and you end up with the right side on the outside again. That's my reasoning for working it inside out like that. So we've still got the pretty edging round there. So I hope you enjoy this pattern. This is the 3rd sock pattern that I have written. If you go and look on Ravelry or Lovecrafts, you will find my first 2 patterns, both written for sock yarn, but same kind of idea. They're both toe-up socks. So if you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you'll enjoy those. So thanks for watching. I hope you get along fine crocheting your first sock. Please do get in touch with me if you have any problems. Instagram direct message is the best way to grab a hold of me. You can find me on Instagram, Mrs. Daft Spaniel. So happy crocheting, everyone. Bye.